Todd stuff here. Today we're going to talk about stringing crossbows. A few of you have asked how I do it, so this is my beautiful homemade equipment and my very messy, currently, workshop. So what this is a jack. It's basically a mechanical screw jack, trailer jack I think they're often known as. You put them on caravans and trailers and things like that. It takes about a ton. So at the front here, the bow is just loosely sitting on there. It's just balanced on a block of wood. You've got two arms welded on that stick out either side, and they've got three staples on each side onto which I hook in this case, steel rope. That corresponds to different sizes of bows. Then if we come to the back here, there's a couple of stays connecting from the arms. That obviously allows it strength. If I just bolted onto the arms there, it would just rip them off. And then you've got the crank handle on the back here, which is what winds the jack in and out. So basically, I just bend the bow from the centre point and from the two limb tips, which just emulates what the string is doing, so it doesn't do anything any harm. Right, so here we've got the bow loosely mounted on the screw jack. Okay, so it's just free. As soon as you start to wind it up, it locks it all in place, so you don't have to bother about clamping the bow or any of that. Make sure it's central, and there, it's fine. A little bit of pre-tension. Now I do have to say, this is a bit of homemade equipment. I'm happy to use it, never had anything go wrong with it. I'm not suggesting, of course, that you ever make one yourself. Now I'm just going to put the string on there, just make sure it's where we are, so we need a little bit more. Now I'm very careful to never put my hands in front of the bow, okay? This is about an 800-pound draw weight on it. Obviously it goes under quite a lot of tension. Roughly speaking, the amount you have to flex the bow to get the string on is about its full draw. So it's under about 800 pound, 360 kilos of load when I get that string on there. If these cables go, that bow is going flying forward either that way or that way. Either way, I do not want my hands or fingers anywhere in front of it. So just give it a bit more. A little bit more still. And we're on. Okay, so it really is as simple as that if you've got a screw jack. Now, this is actually not very different to historically how they used to do it. They'd have a big table with exactly this, a screw jack. In essence, same layout exactly. That's great. On the big bows there is no other way, but there is an alternative for the smaller bows. So anything 400 pounds or less, as long as you've got a good vise and a pair of monkey's fingers, you can do it. So there we go. So that's our 800 odd pound bow all strung up. We're now going to string and unstring this bow in a completely different way. So historically, I don't think they did this. You certainly can't do this with a composite bow. You'll see why in a moment. Steel bows, they could have done it. I don't know if they did or not. This one is a light bow, 180 pound. The bow steel itself is a functional spring steel bow, but this is going into a museum exhibit. So I've stapled the string down there to stop people pulling it. I've actually welded two nuts on the inside here that we can put mounted threaded bar into to bolt it to the table. Stop people ripping it apart. You'd be amazed what they do. Welding onto a bow is not something you should ever do if you want the bow to be operational. This is going for a static exhibit. It's never going to function again, so it doesn't matter in this application. Now, what you do, you just pop the limb between a bit of leather, but it's fine for this. Pop the limb into a vise. Now you can, in fact, push the stock, and you can see now that I'm actually bending the limb. You could even pull that one. It works okay, but you've got to be careful about overstressing one limb. So I've got this lovely tool, which is monkey's fingers, blacksmith's name. So big steel bar, steel U-channel, but a Stilson wrench, or there'll be some tools you can buy down the DIY shop that would do the job if you need to. Again, fiberglass bows. I've done it like this with a fiberglass bow, like 175 or something. And it works fine, but you've got to protect the bow, make sure that it doesn't get damaged. So just moving on to this side, you put the monkey's fingers onto the bow there, and by pushing now, I'm bending in the vise and on there both limbs. So both limbs are getting some flex on it, and now you can just pop the string off and pop the string back on. I've certainly done that up to £300 or £400, I think, draw weight. I can't really remember, to be honest. But where it is of great advantage, this system, is of course, because this bow is lashed, I can't dismount it. So my particular screwjack rig won't do these bows, simply because it is mounted. I would be able to take the time and put some adaptations into it that would do it. I've actually just never needed to. So that's it. Stringing and bows, it's pretty straightforward. People do ask me, if you have a steel bow, do I leave the string on? Do I take the string off? Just leave the string on. I mean, it's linen, so it's zero stretch. It beds in a little bit, and it does move a little. But sitting on the bow at rest like that, it won't do it any harm, basically, indefinitely. So it's not like a wooden bow. Don't worry about unstringing them when you're done with them.